Hey, welcome back to Rose and Lily. Today we're going to make these really cute bears. Please note, the designer of the original Pear Bear pattern is Kindlycrochet on Instagram. I've put a link to the original free pattern in the description box. The pattern in this tutorial was designed to work with the super chunky plush yarn. So I've made these bears in 2 colors, and I've used the super chunky plush yarn for the body, and then a medium weight cotton yarn for the muzzle, the ears, the leaf, and the stem. This is because the medium yarn gives these pieces more structure. The first thing you're going to need is super chunky plush yarn for the body, and then medium weight yarn in various colors for the muzzle, ears, stem, leaf, and nose. Other items you'll need are 9mm safety eyes, a USG crochet hook, as well as a USE crochet hook, a yarn needle, scissors, polyfill, and then I also suggest using stitch markers. The stitches you need to know beforehand are single crochet, magic ring, slip stitch, chain stitch, increase, and invisible decrease. We're going to start with our super chunky yarn and the G crochet hook. And in round 1 it's 6 single crochet in a magic ring. I'll link my tutorial on how to do a magic ring above. Pull the ring tight. And I always like to put a stitch marker at the end of each round to keep track. In round 2, we do 6 increases. An increase is 2 single crochet into the same stitch. That means in round 2, we end up with 12 stitches in total. In round 3, we do a single crochet, and then an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 18 stitches. In round 4, we do 2 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 24. In rounds 5 to 8, so that's 4 rounds, we just do 24 single crochet a round. And I'll do these 4 rounds off camera. Now we're going to attach the eyes. And the eyes go between rounds 6 and 7 and about 4 or 5 stitches apart. So that's 5 stitches apart, but I actually prefer it 4 stitches apart. Once you're happy with the placement, you can attach the backs. In round 9, we do 3 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 30 stitches. In round 10, it's 4 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 36. In round 11, it's 5 single crochet and then an increase. We repeat that 6 times in total to get 42. In round 12, we just do 42 single crochet around. In round 13, it's 6 single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 6 times to get 48. In the next 6 rounds, so that's rounds 14 to 19, it's just 48 single crochet around. And I'll do these 6 rounds off camera. In round 20, we're going to start decreasing. And in round 20, it's 6 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 42. I like to do the invisible decrease like so. In round 21, it's 5 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 36. In round 22, we first do 4 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 30 stitches. In round 23, it's 3 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 24. In round 24, it's 2 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 18. And now we're going to stuff the head and the body. In round 25, it's a single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that 6 times to get 12 stitches. In round 26, we just do 6 decreases. That brings us down from 12 stitches to 6. Now we can remove the stitch marker and cut the yarn, making sure to leave a bit of a tail for sewing. To sew the hole closed, we're going to go through the front loops of the 6 stitches in the last round. Pull on the yarn and that should close the hole. Then you can insert the yarn into a few places on the body to secure. And now the main body part is done. Next we're going to do the arms. In round 1, it's 4 single crochet in a magic ring. In round 2, it's 4 increases. So that brings us up from 4 stitches to 8. Just work slowly and carefully here because the magic ring is very small. In round 3, it's just 8 single crochet around. In round 4, it's 2 single crochet and then a decrease, and we do that twice to get 6 stitches in total for round 4. In rounds 5 to 6, so that's 2 rounds, it's just 6 single crochet around. Now I'm going to remove the stitch marker and just insert that tail from the magic ring into the piece. I'm not going to stuff the arm because I prefer it to be flat against the body, but you can stuff it if you prefer. To finish off the arm, we're going to fold it flat and then close along the top with single crochets. Now we can cut the yarn, making sure to leave a bit of a tail for sewing onto the body later. And we'll be making 2 of these arms for the bear. Next we are going to do the legs. And in round 1, it's 5 single crochet in a magic ring. In round 2, we do 5 increases. That brings us up to 10 stitches in total in round 2. In round 3, it's a single crochet and then an increase, and we do that 5 times to get 15. In round 4, we just do 15 single crochet around. Now we can remove the stitch marker and close with a slip stitch. And then cut the yarn, making sure to leave a tail for sewing onto the body later. You'll be making 2 of these legs for the bear. Thanks for watching part 1. I'll put the link to part 2 in the description box.